Well, it's good to be with you again. I wanted to take another aside for us today, something that you probably will be a little unfamiliar with, and that's the story of Masada. You just saw a model of Masada. I'm going to tell you that story, so we're not going to go into a lot of the history. But one thing I want you to know about is this is a place of deep meaning, historical meaning for peoples throughout the world and for the people of Israel. And so this morning I've asked if Reuven.MOV would join us. He is our guide here in Israel, and it's not like a guide that we might think of in the States. Reuven should be seen as a person of great honor. He's a studied person and has a lot of background, biblical background, as well as background throughout much of this part of the world. So we're very honored to have him here with us. Thanks for doing this for us. And what I wanted to ask you is, this is a kind of significant place. In the year 70 AD, Jerusalem fell and the temple was burned. And there hasn't been a temple in its place since that date. And then at Masada, the last part of the rebellion against the Roman Empire fell here. You taught me something this week that I did not know, and that is that in my mind, that was kind of the end of Judaism, and you taught me that that's not really true, and I appreciate kind of that new insight. What I wanted to ask you about is, we have a view of Jesus as Messiah, as Christians, and certainly the Bible talks about the promise to David that there would be on his seat, enthroned forever and forever, a king. And so my interest point and what I'd like to share with our church congregation back home is just, what is your perspective? I realize there's probably many perspectives, but what is your perspective about the anointed one, the prophecy of Messiah, and what do you expect in the future about Messiah?
First of all, in Judaism, because it's not, you have different opinions if it's the rational movement and if it's the mystical or the Kabbalah movement, etc. There are different, but basically there is a mistake in the concept that people are sure that Judaism is waiting for a Messiah. Okay? Judaism is waiting for a Messianic era. And that is a little bit different. We are waiting for a Messianic era, and in this Messianic era, a couple of things should happen. One of them, of course, most relevant, important, is the coming of the Messiah. But in the Messianic era, there should be peace in the world. In the Messianic era, exactly as the description that the prophecies talk about, the mountain that becomes a valley, and that is inside the Messianic era. In the Messianic era, the temple, the third house of God, should be built. So the question that we always ask ourselves is not, are we in front, not if the Messiah is coming tomorrow or the next day, but are we right now in what we call a Messianic era? Some people will come and say that the fact that Israel has beaten in 6 days, in 1967, all the Arab armies around, comes to show that we are in the Messianic era. Okay? So some people had interpreted the victory of the 6-day war, which was such a dramatic one, as a Messianic era. Others will come and say, no, we are not in. By the way, in Hebrew it's called Pa'amei Mashiach, which Pa'amei or Pa'amon means the bells. In other words, are we entering now to the bells that are announcing that the Messiah is coming? The prophecies are the same prophecies that exist in Christianity, right? In other words, it has to be from David's family, etc. Did the Messiah come or will come? That is the open question.
That's the open question. Well, I really appreciate you sharing that perspective with us, and that helps me, and I hope will help us to understand Messiah as it's understood here in amongst the people that God originally called the Jewish people.